Hey guys, welcome back to J Raids, and in today's video we're jumping straight into it. Let's start things off with a quick little test for you guys. We have some pretty fast champions here on this screen. We got Fabian, we got Galith here on my side, 6-star Fabian with the soul. We got a 5-star Galith here, and on the opponent side we got some super fast champions as well. We got the Arbiter, we got the Shuzen, we got the Warlord. And so my question to you guys is, which champion do you think is going to be the fastest? Let's jump in and find out. Is it going to be the Fabian? Is it going to be the Arbiter? Is it going to be the Shuzen? Let's see. In 5, 4, load faster. 3, 2, and 1. Boom. It's not any of them. It's my Ailil over here, and it's not even close. You can see a little bit of space left within their turn meters over here. So let's come in and just get rid of the Warlord. Pow! And now let's just nuke down the rest of their board. Wow. Oh, there you go. Thanks, Marius. And let's close things out. But because we were able to come in and take out the Warlord was unable to nuke, or was unable to lock us out, which led us to clean things up. And that is the topic of today's video. And that is none other than the star of the show. We have Ailil here, if I can find him. There we go. So I want to talk about Ailil in today's video and why he is so fantastic at taking down some of these fast teams, especially with teams that try to go first and lock champions out. So what exactly made Ailil, or Lil, depending on how you like to pronounce it, what exactly made Ailil jump ahead of all these fast champions and make him the first person to go in the fight? Well, that comes down to his passive right here. The Force of Nature fills this champion's turn meter by 10% whenever they receive a buff. And this is incredible. This makes him super, super fast. And then he can cut in with his Pierce the Carapace, which is a fantastic single target hit. And it gives him the Stone Skin to make sure that he stays alive for the next turn. So what is going on with his passive, and where is all this speed coming from? Well, as most of you guys know, you guys saw him in Stone Skin. So Stone Skin applies a Star of the Turn buff at the 4 pieces, of course. It gives that Stone Skin buff at the start of the round. So that already right there is 10% turn meter. The next thing is the Lightning Cage buff. Or the Lightning Cage blessing. Because we have this blessing, it gives him a Lightning Orb stack. Whenever an enemy champion receives a buff or has their turn meter filled. Most of the times you're going to get this because the enemy champs are running Stone Skin or Mercurial. So that's a second buff. That's going to be 20% turn meter. And then finally on Galith there, we also have the Volcardiac Heart Relic. So this will give a Magma Shield buff on all allies at the start of the round, similar to how a shield set or a bolster set would work. So right there, that's 3 buffs, that's 30% turn meter, right? He's getting 30% turn meter at the start of the round. And then finally, you tack on these blue gems, these fantastic blue circle gems on his relic here that increases turn meter effects turn meter effects are 10% more effective on the wear. I have 2 of them, that stacks at 20%. That 30% is jumping straight to 36% turn meter. He is getting more turn meter at the start of his round than the Arbiter gives on the A3, and that's what makes him super, super fast. So what exactly is going on? Well, I have Ailil built here with 326 speed. It's not bad. It's pretty fast, but there's definitely a lot of room for improvement. For example, I don't have a 6-star blessing, which could add another 20 speed onto him. Or sorry, it's only 15 speed for legendaries. You're gonna add another 15 speed right there on a 6-star blessing. And I also don't have my faction guardians filled out, so that could be another potential 10 speed on top of Ailil. So right there, he's already missing out on 25 speed. So depending on where you are within your account, you may or may not have ways of better making Ailil faster. In addition, I do have Stone Skin on him. Of course, Stone Skin does give a buff, but as a set itself, it doesn't have any speed within it. Of course, you could use a set like Barrel, for example, which at 4 pieces also gives the the block debuffs buff at the start of the round for 2 turns. So with a 4-piece Feral, instead you could also get another 5% speed, or of course you could use the newest Mercurial set at a 4-piece as well, which would also give a Mercurial buff as well as 8% speed. Right there, you can, if you do have the better gear for it. I unfortunately do not. Stone Skin is still the best attack nuking build that I have for Ailil, but if you do have either better Mercurial or Feral sets, and I do think Mercurial out of the 3 sets, Stone Skin, Feral, Mercurial is definitely the best, because not only does it give the most speed, total guard, as well as just a little bit more effective at negating some of the effects that do come with Ailil. And yeah, that is how I am able to achieve such breakneck fast speeds out there. So essentially with those 3 buffs, his total effective speed is coming out to, with 3, I would say it's coming out to roughly about 460 speed. And that's incredibly fast. And it's not to say you can't add more buffs to increase that speed even faster. But just to go into the little bit of a showcase, just so you guys can really see what I'm talking about here, I'm going to put my Sifi into my fastest gear, okay? So Sifi right here is 452 speed. And then I'm just going to jump back in, and we're just going to replicate the same thing. So Sifi, oops, Sifi's not even in this picture, but let's find a little bit of a easier match. Okay, so in this case, this would be a good showcase, okay? My Sifi is 452 speed. I'm putting Galathir in here just for the buff that he gives, the Magma Shield. So I'm gonna get, I should get, yeah, because Yumeko has the Veil, so I should get the stone, or I should get the Lightning Orb. But again, my Sifi is 452 speed. And I get 3 buffs here. I get the Magma Shield, I get the Stone Skin, and I get the Lightning Cage. Because in this case, the Yumeko has multiple buffs, right? And with these 3 buffs, I'm able to outspeed my 452 speed Sifi. But I can't one-shot. Unfortunately, there's too much shields for me to one-shot the Yumeko. And that's a little bit of a problem that I'll quickly talk about a little bit later. And that's just the fact that my Ailil, as cool and as fast as he is, there is a little bit of a downside to my current build with him. And that's the fact that really it's the relic. I've kind of taken off the Cat's Gaze from the Ailil, and I've put it onto the Solnar. Cat's Gaze gives that extra ignore defense, which is so critical in making sure that Ailil can secure those kills. Right now I have the Gore Crescent, which doesn't actually help Ailil to secure that first kill. Gore Crescent only increases the damage dealt on the next hit afterwards. And on the topic of blessings, there definitely are much better blessings that I do want to shout out. If I can go to the relics, sorry, I'm getting my words mixed up, but there are a few better relics out there that if you guys do have this will bring your Ailil to the next level. And those 2 blessings in my mind are Covetous's Passion. This was a limited time mythical from the Chaos Awakes event that provides a shatter buff at the start of a round. And of course, the shatter buff has a chance of being placed again upon killing an enemy. So this is a fantastic relic for Ailil. If you guys do have it, it was very limited, but it's very good. And a lot of people kind of saw this and saw, well, it's just a worse version of Cat's Gaze. But specifically for Ailil's case, this is incredible because it does provide another buff, not only at the start of the round, but also when he kills a champion. And so he can able to not only refresh the shatter buff and keep it up, but also get another buff in order to, cycle his turn meter faster. The second one is the Lens of Intangibility. And again, for the same reason, because this places a perfect Veil buff on top of Ailil at the start of a round. And of course, this also has a much stronger ignore defense effect, being able to ignore 10 plus whatever this is. Let's say you have a level 5, right? This is plus 12, 10 plus 17. So you get a 27% ignore defense on the lens of intangibility, but you only have perfect veil for 2 rounds, as opposed to the covetous's passion, where you only get a 15% ignore defense, but this will refresh on top of killing an enemy. Of course, Cat's Gaze ignores at level 5 ignores 18%. So it is better just on a flat level. But even if you don't have any of these relics, a damage relic is still fine. In my case, I put Gore Crescent on him just for the stats. But I do think that if I wasn't such a miser with my Soul Stone, or sorry, my what's it called? This Starstone, this resource, super expensive, super rare. I don't know what the heck Plarium is doing with the Starstone economy, but it sucks. It sucks to replace relics, and I would think that this Thunderbolt Spear is going to be a lot better than the Gore Crescent, because as you saw in that case, Ailil was unable to kill the Yumeko through the bolster set plus the Volcardia card. A lot of shields on that Yumeko. And what the Thunderbolt Spear is going to do is it's going to help you to deal 30% more damage to enemies under shield buffs. This is primarily one of the ways that can make it difficult for Ailil to secure that first kill, just getting through all those shields. But something like Thunderbolt Spear would be a lot more effective than something like Gore Crescent in helping to scare that first kill and making sure that you are able to assassinate whatever target you're looking to kill. But to the main point of today's video, what I did want to further showcase is just the fact that Ailil is so good at cutting in and making sure you are stopping the fastest champion from going with their turn. Let's take this team, for example, right? We have a Bomber with Lord Shazar, we have Arbiter, we have what's his face, we have ARMANZ, and we have just another nuker, right? Ronda. In this case, their Arbiter is most likely going to be their fastest champion that boosts into the ARMANZ. And once that happens, the ARMANZ might go and stun your team. So let's put it into a little bit of practice, okay? Let's run the same team, right? Let's say ARMANZ goes off, and I guess this is a bad example, but because there's so much stone skin everywhere. Okay, let's take this guy out then. Let's put in Rhodos. So let's go into this as a little bit of an experiment, right? So it's hard to say who's faster. This team might be a little bit slower, just because this is a little bit of a lower level of plat. But it's hard for me to know if my Fabian is going to be faster than the Arbiter. If my Fabian is slower than the Arbiter is going to boost into the ARMANZ is going to stun, and then all of a sudden I can't get my lockout through, right? But in this case, because I do have the Ailil, I don't have to play this guessing game. I can just go in and kill the ARMANZ. In this case, my Fabian was faster than their Arbiter, so this isn't the best sort of experiment here, but you can see why it would be good to have Ailil cut in there. And I'll just quickly let's get rid of these guys. Let's try to find another one that can help us to showcase this example a little bit better. Let's see. This looks pretty promising, but I'm not sure if I can actually. Let's see. Let's say this one. We have here another very similar example, right? We have a 6-star Odin with a 6-star Shuzen and a 6-star Sifi, right? And a 6-star Georgid, but he's going to be slow regardless. Like, these are super fast champions that I'm going to assume that they're going to have the first jump at it, right? They have a 40% speed aura compared to my 19, and they have one of the best speed boosters in the game. So it's very likely that they go first. They're Odin, then CC's my entire team. Luckily, in this case, what's his face? Fabian can't get CC'd. But if we replace this with like ARMANZ, for example, let's do that. Let's just drop him for ARMANZ, who when he gets CC'd, he can't do anything, right? Let's throw our ARMANZ into the Fabian gear. In this case, let's say this is your team, okay? Let's jump in and let's take a look at what happens. So in this case, I want to kill the Odin before he's able to take his turn, right? And luckily again for us, our Ailil is the fastest champion, and I want to take out the Odin. Let's imagine this is Odin, this is a Fabian, this is a ARMANZ, Trixie, this is whatever lockout there is. By eliminating the Odin, even though yes, the next target is the Sifi and then the Odin, I can make sure that my ARMANZ cuts in before the revive goes off and before he gets his turn. In this case, I think the AI ordering was a little bit unlucky there. But now, because I killed the Odin, my ARMANZ is now faster because they had a revive, and then I a little unfortunate with the whole AI setup there, but the Shuzen just kind of didn't do the thing. But anyways, I cut in, right? And now I was able to CC the opponent team, and then I can just wipe them out with my Marius. So it's super good here at cutting in into the team order and just eliminating what is possibly going to be a big threat before they can do anything. Let's see. Let's try this again over here. I'm not sure if I can actually kill this Crixia. Well, we'll see. So let's go back. Let's do this. And let's see what happens. So my goal here is I want to kill the Crixia. I want to assume my Ailil is the fastest. I go in and I assassinate the Crixia. And then when he goes Shuzen into Odin, my Fabian can then snap out of the CC and be able to lock out the what's his face? The Siegfried, right? In this case, it would be hard for me to build a team that is going to go faster than them, or I'm not sure if I can do that. And then my Fabian is going to get locked out by the Crixia, right? So let's see what happens here. So I'm hoping that my Ailil is going to be the fastest unit on the board. And again, yes, right? So as we can see, our Fabian is the fastest. It looks like their Shuzen is the second fastest, right? In this case, what we want to do is now we can kill the Crixia. Although if I knew who was faster between my Fabian and the Crixie, I could just try to kill the Shuzen instead. But there is a level of flexibility, right? I'm going to go in here and kill the Crixia before the Shuzen has a chance to turn meter boost, and then the Crixia locks us out, right? So the Crixia dies, the Shuzen turn meter boosts, and then just as I predicted, the Odin goes in with his CC ability, right? Let's then... I'm not even going to cleanse just to prove my point, okay? I'm just going to go in with the A1, and then... Oh, okay. I'm just going to go in with my A1, and then because my Armand can't get CC'd, he does cut in before the Siegfried, and now I can go with the lockout, right? Unfortunately, I weak hit, but it is what it is, okay? So then we just go in and kill. So I think this was a fantastic example of the value that someone like of Ailil brings, and being able to kind of clear the board. In this case, it's a little bit like, well, that was cool and all, but why don't you bring in somebody like a Hegemon instead, right? 'Cause it's doing a lot of similar things where Hegemon, and we also have Kalvalax, surprisingly, they're both Night Revenants, but being able to place, being anti-speed champions, and being able to place debuffs either with the poisons because of Kalvalax, or either the... Where is Hegemon? There. Or just being able to completely nuke down champion with Hegemon. In this case, I think the Crixie just wasn't in Stone Skin, or wasn't in Stone Skin, so someone like a Hegemon or a Kalvalax would be able to take that team down no problem, right? But in this case, Ailil does have that ability to go through Stone Skin, which is something very valuable that is hard to replicate with Hegemon. You have to build him to hit super hard, and maybe have a whatever the stone breaker blessing is, outside like a stone cleaver set. So Ailil does have this advantage of being able to deal with our meter or deal with any sort of fast champions that are still stone skin. Additionally, Ailil is just a much better champion after the fact. Somebody like a Kalvalax does their thing and then they're completely useless, right? Because of how demanding and how skewed of a build they have, right? Someone like a Kalvalax probably has like 10,000 attack, 0 speed, and like a lot of accuracy, right? These champions aren't built for speed and they aren't built for crit, or at least Kalvalax isn't. But in the case of Hegemon, a lot of attack, a lot of crit damage, a lot of crit, maybe some accuracy, but no speed, right? These champions are sacrificing speed in order to do something at the start of the round, which makes them super one-dimensional after they do their thing. In the case of any sort of full mercurial or, you know, stone skin, and they can't, their thing that they do is not effective anymore, Ailil still steps in and has the ability to be just a standard nuker because he does have other abilities within his set that do effective things, and he's still built in a way, if you guys go look back at my build, he's still built in a way where he's a functional champion, even if his A2 doesn't necessarily kill the champion that you're looking for, or the fight drags on afterward and is extended even further. He's still a functional attack-based nuke. And so Ailil is just so good here, and is one of my secret weapons really at dealing with some of these faster teams. Let's refresh again and try to find another one. This is a good example too, right? Like just this case where when you don't know, it's hard to say how confident you can be about something like this, about who's faster. Actually, this case is a little bit awkward because of the Harima. The Harima makes it difficult for the Ailil. And another thing that you do want to watch out with, specifically with this strategy, is if I can find something, is, nope, not here, but temporal chains. Something like a temporal chains can also make this strategy a little bit awkward. If you look at what a 6-star temporal chains does, is it pushes back turn meters by 15% whenever a third active buff is received by an enemy. And in Ailil's case, you know, I'm getting those buffs straight away. Oh, my face is really dark. That's really awkward. But yeah, let's do one more fight, and I just want to showcase the ability of Ailil to just really cut in and kind of neutralize some of the important threats on a team. Even in this case, right? In this case, I'm probably faster. Let's just take out Fabian. Let's take out ARMANZ. Let's put in someone slow. I have a really slow Embrius. Let's do that. I don't have a speed aura anymore, right? And let's see what happens. So I don't have a speed aura anymore. In this case, I know that my opposing enemy is probably going to go first. They have an arbiter here. They have, you know, bomb champion. They have the lockout. So their team wants to go first, and then I can just try to eliminate a target that I think is going to be the most difficult here, right? So let's see how many buffs I have. I still have 3 buffs, but with no speed aura, my Fabian's probably only going to be looking at around 420, 430-ish. So let's see if we can still cut in from the arbiter. And we can. Can we even kill the arbiter? This is awkward. I don't even know if we can kill this arbiter because of the bone, the ward of the fallen stack in the shield. But let's try. Oh, that's embarrassing. Ailil, man, what an embarrassment. Okay, let's ignore that. This is why Ailil does need some level of additional damage ignore to be effective, because he can just kind of do a bit disappointing damage without it. So we'll just put this on auto, and we should just win overall. But you saw there that it is a little bit awkward for Ailil when he doesn't kill the target that you're trying to do, right? The strategy that I do want to build around Ailil in this case, when I do build him fast, is the fact that he can assassinate a target that is very important to disrupting your team overall, whether that be a speed booster, whether that be a lockout champion or a CC champion, or just any damage dealer overall. You can cut in there and take them out. But in that case, we had the Ward of the Fallen stack, which reduces damage by, what is it, 30% or something like that, at the top of the shield. So that was a little bit tricky to deal with. these teams don't look very appetizing. But I think the concept still stands, and Ailil is a fantastic way to kind of cut in to a lot of the different things that are going on. Some other champions that do synergize very well with Ailil, of course, there are relatively few champions that have the Star of the Round effect. But for me, I have Neve. Super lucky to have Neve, who places a block damage buff at the start of a round. But another strategy that I do want to showcase, and let's do one last one to highlight this. Let's go back into, let's try this one. So Sifi is a champion that is a fairly good turn meter booster. Has a super high base speed. She does turn meter boost, and she, you know, is good. Is a good champion by all means of the word. But one of the issues of Sifi is how many number of buffs she places out, which can make it difficult into any champions that have supersonic on them. In this case, maybe the Hilvia is supersonic, but maybe they're Mercurial. Maybe the Lady Mikage has supersonic, but maybe that's not the case. But in this case, Ailil is not going to go first. Sifi is likely going to be the fastest. Actually, is that true? There's going to be 2 buffs. We'll see. I did slow down my Sifi a lot, so maybe the Fabian still, or the Ailil still goes first. Okay, Ailil still goes first. Let's rebuild this, and I'll rebuild this and come back. But just quickly, yep, let's finish this. No use wasting arena tokens. Classic. Yep, there you go. Okay. Let's put our Sifi back into their fastest gear. But because I replaced Sifi in this, or because I replaced Galathier in this team set with Sifi, I no longer have that 3rd buff, so Ailil isn't running nearly as fast. Let's do one more refresh and try to find something. This is perfect. So in this team setup, we have a team that wants to go first, right? And they have Fabian, who most likely is in Supersonic. When I want to try to run a fast team like this, my Sifi is my fastest champion on my squad. It can be a little bit tricky because Fabian has that supersonic on it. So let's see what happens. I suspect my Sifi is going to be the fastest champion because she is built very fast at 452. So she is the fastest, right? But as soon as she goes in with this turn meter boost, it's likely that the Fabian on the enemy team is going to cut in with the supersonic, right? As you can see, yeah, there's a turn meter boost on both of them, right? But even though they gain so much turn meter through that supersonic activation, my Ailil gains 30% turn meter as well because Sifi places 3 buffs on top of it. I don't know if this A3 is going to kill, so let's just go in with the A2 and just make sure that the scariest target here, which is the Fabian, right? If Fabian goes next and locks us out, that could be a little bit troublesome. So let's go in, and we killed off their Fabian, right? And then their opposing setup isn't set to revive, right? Only the Arbiter open with the A3. And now we're in this advantage position where now we can go in with the lockout, right? If we didn't have the Ailil here, their Fabian would likely cut in before ours because of the supersonic, and they would lock us out before we lock them out, right? So now that we've locked them out, well, there's not much else left to do. And we'll just watch Marius clean things up from here. But this is a fantastic example. 2 different teams that you can build with Ailil. You can put him up with a ton of buffs to make sure that he goes first regardless. Or you can use him in this case where he's being boosted by Sifi, who is a bad target against teams in Supersonic, but Ailil can kind of come in, help you out, and make sure that he's still going to go next right after that Sifi. Take out that lockout unit who is in Supersonic in case it was the enemy Fabian, and then you can go in with your own Fabian and lock out the rest of the team. Or even, I didn't even need Fabian here. I could have used any other champion, really. But the whole concept stands that Ailil is fantastic against these fast lockout teams, and even though teams nowadays are seeing less speed boosters overall, a lot of that speed is being redirected into the Fabians, into the Crixias, and with the right build, in the right setup, Ailil can really help you out by eliminating those threats for you in ways that have better flexibility than something like a Hegemon or a Kalvalax. But I hope you enjoyed this quick showcase, little video of Ailil for you guys today. If you guys enjoyed the video, consider leaving a like and subscribe to the channel. Really appreciate it. Helps me out. And look forward to the meta report coming out this Saturday or this Sunday. Okay. Love you guys so much. Peace out and have a good rest of your day.